for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 23 coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, AOEAH.com. Use code VENOM at checkout for 3% off your order. Yo, what's good guys, I'm Fire here, back on the video, and today we're going to be hopping into another Madden 23 defensive scheme. This is going to be a coverage base, but it might be the best coverage defense that I have posted yet. Very good defense. We're going to continue on kind of with our theme of the nickel over formation, going over a lot of these plays. And we're going to continue with another coverage one. I showed I think some kind of a cover. I'm not exactly sure which play I showed. I think it was the nickel 2 trap in the middle there. I showed that play, if I'm not mistaken. The next play we're going to run is going to be cover 4 quarters, which you see on the right-hand side there. It's going to be a very, very good play. Now, hopping into our coaching adjustments, first things first, we're going to go auto flip on, auto alignment to base. And then what you want to do is go down here to your zone coverage and you're going to put it to match. It's already on default. Switch it to match. Very important that you do that. Otherwise, you will just have a regular cover 4 on your field. We want it to play match based though. So super important that you go through with that step. And other than that, personnel wise, you can get safeties or linebackers, whatever of your choosing. We have some good linebackers with Rashaan Evans and Deion Jones. So we'll just rock out with those guys. I'm cool with it. And yeah, overall, let's just, jump straight into it. Now, offensively, I'm going to be just running a couple of different formations. We'll start out in this U-Trips formation. This is Giants offense. And just like a play, take a look at this. You have crossing routes galore, just a lot of different stuff. And this, you would think, okay, it's going to give something like a man coverage trouble. But let's actually show what it looks like against our normal match coverage. Also, I'm sorry for the glare in the background. I'm not sure why it's so emphasized when it's really not that bright outside either. So I'm trying to cover it up with my head, but all you're going to do is just pinch. That's all I really like to do. Now, base aligning, you don't necessarily have to be base aligned if you want those corners arranged in a more better standpoint to where they're not playing too far inside. They can just get streaked. So it depends on the formation. If it's a spread out formation, I would try and baseline, but this one, you don't really need to. So all you're going to do is that baseline if you want, and then pinch your defense. Now, who do we use her? Now, in this case, we have a trips to the right side, one receiver to the left side. We already know that Kenny Golladay is going to be accounted for by Casey Hayward in this quarter zone. We know that Saquon Barkley is going to be accounted for by Rashaan Evans here. In the tight end is going to be encountered by Deion Jones. Quarter flat is going to be encountered by Robinson, I believe is his name. Or RB, who's RB? Yeah, Robinson. He's encountered by our other quarter flat, and then our outside quarter is encountering Sterling Shepard. So that leaves this guy to really just be help defense as well as our strong safety. So you can use him. You either leave him in position or bring him down if you'd like to, help with the run a little bit. And yeah, let's just go ahead and snap the ball, and you'll see coverage is going to be pretty good. It's going to kind of turn into like a man coverage. But, overall, everything is defended well. And these are not any good defensive players. These are fairly low overall Falcons players besides Casey Hayward over here. Taking a look at our defense, you see we do have some interesting match assignments. You will see different things like this. So you notice how A.J. Terrell on the outside corner position, he ends up kind of switching over to the deep post. But that is why we have extra help over the middle of the field, because sometimes match does go with weird assignments where you notice that the slot corner ends up matching with the outside receiver. It just depends on the routes. Overall, everything is accounted for, for the most part. With my user, I was just kind of running around, but in this case, I would have taken the in route, deep post, defended well. So you just take a look across the field with all these different cool routes that you would expect to get open, and there's just nothing open. Running backs taken away, everything is defended well. And another good part about this is that you still have a 4-man rush. So if you can get some quality defensive linemen, you're going to get pressure in about no time. Now, here's it with a baseline press, and you see how there could be some problems if you're straight up baseline pressed. Already, some of the things with the defense did change, and that includes specifically guys like Kenny Golladay. If he were to be on a streak, it would be important that you were not using the safety, because he could straight up just get open on a streak. Other than that, you see, again, the coverage assignments really do play similar. Tight end, maybe you could throw that, but we have our flat zone out there that's kind of multitasking, which you love to see. And again, this is just probably the worst case scenario where he has a ton of routes that could get open. So in this case, again, it's likely better to just not be base aligned, but Some of the other plays in here, what do we have? Mesh Y spot. Let's just go with, something else. We'll mix it up a lot. Go with like a lot of these different plays. And you'll notice here, again, there will be things that get open against match. It's not something you want to run every single play, but you can mix it in situationally at the right times, and it can be very annoying. So again, certain things will get open. Ideally, again, these are 4 very bad D linemen besides Grady Jarrett. It's like a 70, 68. Jarrett, he's good. And then like a 70. So these guys are not good. That's why they can't even get pressure on the Giants offensive line. No offense to any Giants fans. You have Andrew Thomas, but yeah, so again, ideally you're getting quicker pressure than that. Some other plays in here, what do we have? I think this is the same play. This is a different play. This is kind of like a Pats slot out, just on crack, I guess, a little bit different. So we'll run this, and again, everything really taken away. Now again, you see certain routes do get open. That's where it's important to not overcommit with your user, but again, you should get pressure before that really happens. What actually did happen there? Because that was, did he just get fried? Yeah, he just got fried, I guess. I'm not sure why all of a sudden, he had him defended well, and then all of a sudden there's like a weird speed burst. It wasn't even the cut. He cuts right, it's like a second cut. I'm not sure what's up with that route. Maybe it's just a glitch route, but the coverage should have been good there. And again, you don't really want to shade over the top, because when you shade over the top, it's going to cancel out those quarter flats and they won't be playing match assignments, so you can't really shade over the top. You don't have to press if you don't want to. I guess that's a thing that you could do. You don't have to press. The coverage should still be good if you're not pressed, and you see right there, everything's really taken away. So if you're getting kind of fried in those one-on-one situations, pressed, whether it's deep go route, streak route, something like that, your option is just to not press, and it should still work. So again, you don't have to press, but I like pressing if I'm able to, just because it's going to take away any kind of a snap throw opportunity, potentially. Let's go into the trips tight end. This is actually like the run heavy trips tight end. I did not know they had this kind of a weird trips tight end. It's pretty cool. You learn something new every day. Let's go with a PA counter go setup. I'm only going to show a couple plays out of trips tight end, but we will go to gun bunch eventually. So this is going to be a different situation because we want to show it against a couple different formations. Again, you don't have to be base aligned. You could base align if you want, but in this situation, the trips is to the left, which means we're going to use our strong safety right here. So we're going to use the strong safety. Out of the PA counter go setup I like to go to is like a little quick wheel, and then maybe like a motioned out zig, something like this. You could run, snap the ball, and you notice how everything is going to be taken away. You follow that crosser with the user, which is kind of running in your zone anyway. But again, usually when you're running match, there's going to be one route that gets open a lot of the time. So you got to stay on top of it with your user. As long as you're staying on top of it, nothing's going to be open. So you're of course always watching the deep throw, because cover 4, the backbone of it is going to be deep. So you have to watch out. You see certain weird things where running match, for whatever reason, Rashaan Evans, who knows what the route is, he just decides not to follow. So it's important that you're staying on top of it with your user. I would be there to make a play on it if I had to. So that's why, you always you just can't assume anything when you're running match coverage, if that makes any sense at all. Don't assume that a route's going to be defended, because then it will not. So let's show another setup, kind of a max protect type setup. Just going to look like this. Little backside slant, little out routes. So you see just a lot of different routes. In this case, I have my assignments clear. It's going to be A. So, when certain routes are motioned over, it changes what your assignment might be. Particularly, motion does give this maybe a little bit of trouble. I'll show you what you can also do in a motion situation. But in this scenario, motion, it made it not a trips. When it's not a trips, you don't really want to use the safety. When it's a look like this, it's kind of a tight look. You don't really want to use the safety. And you see, if that happens, you don't have enough time to maybe switch who you're using. You have to watch the deep route. In this case, since it is kind of turning into a doubles, certain routes are taken away. The out route, maybe if the out route wasn't there, Deion Jones follows him. But, other than that, the coverage was really good. A.J. Terrell doing his job. Crosser defended, slant. Look how well the motion slant is defended. You kind of have a window, you can throw it there, but it's risky. It's probably picked off, and then he gets followed by Casey Hayward. And then again, you got to watch deep. So you're watching deep. But other than that, it's back. So let's say he's continuing to motion. You're like, all right, let's kind of chill out with this motion stuff. The other guy you can use here is just the basic 3-rec hook. So we'll go with the same setup. And again, here's a look at what we're rocking with. Now, ideally, you also get better pressure than we've gotten, but you kind of follow around. And you see now the safeties. I mean, it's just really good coverage. So we noticed that a couple in these plays, the 3-back hook wasn't even really following a route anyway. He was just kind of standing there, moving from route to route, helping out, passing off zones. So that's another decent player to user if you don't want to risk, having to forfeit something big, because again, when you use the safety, you're not exactly sure what your assignment's going to be. You can't see his play art, so you don't know what kind of a cover 4 beater he has, and that can be risky, especially if you try and come down and use a quick post or something. So I'll show it again just against a different setup. Let's just go with a little streak, wheel. Let's go with the curl flat over here. So again, just mixing up our setups, and we'll snap the ball. And again, you see our assignment here is the crosser, so certain setups will result in different, assignments for your 3 receiver hooks as well when you're using those. So that's why it's important to always be on your feet. You can't assume anything, but for the most part, you're able to recognize it, and obviously you'll have a faster guy, I'm hoping, than Rashaan Evans. You should be able to, get there. And again, the pressure should be better in addition to, your faster players. I'll show it against bunch and then tight. So for gun bunch, I'm going to show it quickly against like a Z spot, and then we'll show it against a verticals. And I actually want to throw in corner strike as well, because let's go deep corner, and then I'll throw in corner strike briefly. So once again, you can press. You can be baseline pressed against bunch. That's actually something that I don't mind doing. Against bunch, who are you going to use? You're going to use the safety unless he goes with a motion. So our play is going to be corner strike. What we're going to do out of corner strike is just streak RB in a simple setup. And you see we actually get a weird glitch that can sometimes happen out of over, where sometimes you'll just see straight up this DN gets free. It's a weird glitch. It's happened before. In years past, I showed blitzes. I think there's a way to get it through. I'm not exactly sure of that setup this year, but take a look at your coverage. Everybody accounted for. It's a really, really good defense against bunch. It's really good against corner out heavy defenses. And against corner out heavy offenses, rather, I think baselining is better. I'll show it both ways. It'll probably be defended both ways, but I personally believe against corner out base offenses, the baseline press is a little bit better. And again, it depends on a couple of factors, but we'll snap the ball. You'll see everybody's going to be picked up. You throw this, it's not defended. If it's man coverage, that route gets open. Since it's a quarter, or if it's a third, it's not open. So really good, and it's a really easy setup. It's very frustrating. You have to do some weird stuff on offense to get open against like a cover 4 quarters. And here you see the shed again. Try to get the ball off, but everything's covered out of corner strike. Let's move into our next play, which is going to be deep corner. Deep corner. Let's say they're running deep corner. They try and go with the cover 3 beater. Who knows what they're doing? Something like this. Try and go with that. I didn't even get my setup off, but if they're doing that, you see it's defended. So there's cover 3 beater out of gun bunch will not work against cover 4. You have safeties back there. And again, I was using the safety. So I was using the free safety, and you would think, okay, that's probably your assignment. It's actually not. Everybody gets passed off. Now, if they have more space, that's where things could get interesting with this little pass off. So you still do want to be careful if you're baseline press and they're going with like a little streak, because that is maybe where they beat you with cover 4. So that is why it's important to stay on top of your toes. And I'll show you. Let's try it out, because I'm curious to see if that beats cover 4, and then I'll show you a way to stop it if that is the case. So we'll just run basic. I'll press once again. This is a baseline press, and I'm just going to snap the ball and see if I can get this pass off. So you see now it's defended well with the classic streak. And let's try the other one, which was to streak RB. Come back him. We'll snap the ball and see if we can get this weird thing to work. And yeah, you would see he does get open. So that is a really good cover 4 setup. I did not even know that beat cover 4, but if it is cover 4, that's an important thing. And I'll kind of show you how I would probably attack it. It's a little bit interesting. See if we can get the time to throw that. Now you saw him pass off. That would have been open. You saw it open on the last play. So what would you do in this situation? Now, if you're in this situation, you can do a couple of different things. One that you can do is go with this setup where you go ahead and deep half on the right. You throw a cloud flat on the right, and then you pinch. If I'm going with this setup, you could user this quarter. I would probably leave him alone, and then I would user the 3-rec hook. So let's go to deep corner. Let's streak RB. In this scenario, everything should be defended well. Now, again, RB gets slightly, it looks like he's slightly open. Safety should be able to make a play as long as you have any kind of decent speed. So that is the setup I like to go out of cover 4. I'm not going to this out of choice if I, don't have to. Then again, what you could also do is maybe even go with like an inside third on this back end, just kind of take away everything. So in this setup, you see the corner out's kind of open, but it should still defend that for the most part, and it's going to stop the big play if he's known it. A lot of guys probably don't even know that setup, and it takes really good time to hit that pass also. So you need a lot of time as well. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but let's show like a verticals here. Basic vertical setup. Again, we're going to use this player if we're all able to. And you see just some weird assignments. If he's running heavy verticals, that might be a good situation where you're not baselined. And I also want to show the corner out against non-baseline. So we'll cancel our baseline, pinch our defense, and this is corner strike. You would see that it's still defended, but it just doesn't seem as clean in the way that these routes are bagged. So that is why if he's going corner out heavy, I would baseline. If he's going like a verticals heavy, so with audible to verticals, I would prefer out of verticals to be classically just normal. I don't know what I'm saying, but normal. So normal is going to allow these guys to get picked up well. You see the tight end. I don't know what I was doing with my user, but he was a lot more open on that previous play, especially if you have a fast guy. So, overall, just deciding between baseline is going to be kind of your biggest decision. And overall, there are ways to beat cover 4 for touchdowns, so you got to stay on top of your toes for those. If I was using the free safety, I might be able to recognize that and get back, knowing that the strong safety would pick up the deep post. And my assignment would be to kind of take over on the streak. So now let's go to tight. I'm just going to show like a basic play. It's going to be bench. Now out of bench, tight is a little bit interesting because it's mentioned that it's a little bit tricky to user. Who do you user in tight? We'll show usering this guy first. Now, if you're using the strong safety, you see how it's a little bit of a weird assignment. Pretty convincingly odd. You notice that this is baseline, so we have AJ Terrell over here. You would expect AJ Terrell to just run with the out route, which he doesn't. He actually ends up running back with the corner out. But if you kind of were able to pass lead this over, if my user wasn't there, it would be wide open for an open pass lead to the left. High ball, it's a completion. So it is a weird thing with baseline against tight. In years past, these guys would match up really well against the corner outs you see, but over here on the left, he doesn't. So it's just kind of inconsistent. I like the way AJ Terrell plays, but he just doesn't get over fast enough, honestly. So you could leave it classically baselined and just not press if you would like. And that would kind of leave him to defend it a little bit better. Or you could go with the classic press, which is probably what I would do personally in this situation. So we'll cancel our baseline, pinch everybody still. And in this situation, again, you're still probably using to the tight end side, but it's a clear assignment. You got to take this guy. I guess, honestly, baseline is probably your better bet because considering AJ Terrell didn't do anything in that situation, baselining looks like it's the move. Now, I just dislike using the safety in any capacity because if you're baselined and what do? They go streak. You could be in trouble because they're going to snap the ball. You obviously got to run with the streak. Hey, actually, that looks pretty good because A was defended really well in that. So who knows? Again, it plays differently. You got to pick up on tendencies. Just try out all these different adjustments. One of them's bound to work at least better than some others. But overall, really good coverage. Now, some other things that, again, you could go with if you would like is this setup where, again, you cloud flat, you deep half. I might show more, explain video on that, but this setup would not be terrible. You see how the deep halves follows with the corner out really well. You would have to watch the middle of the field. And again, in this situation, use the 3-rec hook. So that's certainly an option if you want to use the 3-rec hook out of tight. You just kind of got to watch things like the running back. But if they had a really fast guy, it could be a little bit of danger. Just be careful about that. But overall, it's a new video. If you guys enjoyed, drop a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel down below, and peace and out.